All right, you guys, we're going to be looking tonight at multiplying integers. We've been adding and subtracting integers. Now we're going to look at multiplying. Tomorrow we'll look at dividing. So there's some simple rules for multiplying integers that when you understand them, multiplying integers is one of the simplest things you can do. It's actually much simpler than adding or subtracting integers. You just got to make sure you're following the rules. There's some examples there on the screen, and we're going to do some examples here together. So what I want you to do first is I'm going to do some examples. I'm going to do some multiplication problems, multiplying two negatives, multiplying a positive with a negative, multiplying two positives, and you're going to try and figure out what the rule is on your own. Just look at how the problem is done, look at what the answer is, try and come up with your own rules. Then I'm going to show you the actual rules. Okay, so here's some examples. Let's say we have the problem negative 3 times 3. The answer to negative 3 times 3 is going to be negative 9. Okay? Let's go with negative 4 times negative 4. The answer to that is going to be positive 16. Okay, let's go with negative 5 times, 6. That is going to be negative 30. You guys picking up a pattern here? Let's go with negative 2 times negative 11. That's going to be positive 22. 7 times negative 3 is going to be negative 21. Let's go with a negative 4 times negative 11. It's going to equal positive 44. Okay, now if you think you're understanding that, that's awesome. I'm going to show you the actual rules in a second. Hopefully you figured them out. Let's try one that's a little bit more tricky. Let's go with negative 3 times 4 times negative 2. Well, negative 3 times 4 times negative 2 is actually going to give me a positive 24. Either you understand that or you don't. I'll explain that after we look at the rules. Okay? So here are the rules. And you may have thought of them in these terms or not, but the rules are simple. There's only two of them. If the signs are the same, the answer will always be positive. So if you have two positives, the answer is going to be positive. If you're multiplying two negatives, the answer will always be positive. If the signs are the same, the answer is always positive. Now, the second rule is if the signs are different, the answer is always negative. Okay? If the signs are different, the answer is always negative. So let's look back at these and just make sense of that. First two, we've got a negative with a positive. That's going to give us a negative. Okay? One of each. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. Right here, there's two of the same. If the signs are the same, the answer is positive. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. If the signs are the same, the answer is positive. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. If the signs are the same, the answer is positive. Now, if we look at the more challenging problem, we just do it one step at a time. Negative 3 times positive 4 is going to give us a negative 12. Then we just multiply by negative 2, and we have positive 24. Okay? Again, the rules, one more time. Read them to yourself. If the signs are the same, the answer will always be positive. If you're multiplying two negatives together or two positives together, you're always going to get a positive answer. Now, if you are multiplying different signs, a positive with a negative or a negative with a positive, anytime the signs are different and you're multiplying, you're going to have a negative answer. Okay? So I want you to try a couple problems on a piece of paper. Make sure you're doing it right. I'll tell you the answers in a minute. Okay, look at these problems. Pause the recording and solve these problems, and I'll tell you what the answer is. Let's see if you got them right. Remember, if you're multiplying and they have the same sign, the answer is going to be positive. If they have different signs, the answer is going to be negative. Pause the recording, solve these problems. All right, first one, you should have gotten negative 10. Next, you should have gotten negative 9. Next, you should have gotten negative 24. Next, you should have gotten positive 16. Then positive 22. And then 6 times 6, both are positive, same sign, so it's positive 36. All right? Hopefully you guys remember that. Again, if you just remember these rules, you should be fine. Read them once more to yourself as I read them aloud. If the signs are the same, the answer will always be positive. And if the signs are different, the answer will always be negative. All right? Hope that helps. Hopefully you'll do well on the quiz tomorrow.